Alright there guys, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be covering Date Alive. That's right, the first harem anime since the quintuplets. Right, let's get straight into it. So, Date Alive is about... Date Alive's theme is around these things called spacequakes, these phenomenons that basically, they're like earthquakes, but they're way more deadly. They can kill many more people than earthquakes ever could. And straight off the bat, we're introduced to our first two characters, Shido and Kotori Itsuka, who happen to be very important. Shido doesn't know it yet, but he's very important to this mission. A spacequake is set off around the city that Shido and Kotori live in, and they run for shelter, like you would in the Fallout games. Whenever there's a nuclear explosion about to happen, they go underground. And Kotori reveals that she happens to be the commander of one of the military branches, because of course she is. And the military finally locate one of the spirits that cause these spacequakes whenever they turn up. And Shido basically has two options. One, kill the spirit, or two, make the spirit fall in love with him. The second one is definitely the one he's actually able to do, so that's what his mission is. The spirit turns up, and he has to dodge all of the military's fire first just to get to the spirit, led by none other than Tobichi Origami, who is another very important character throughout this series. So, Shido meets up with the spirit and finally gets to talk to it, and he asks the spirit, why does it attack? Why does the spirit always attack? Why does it attack? What reason does it have? And she has no idea. She just turns up randomly and starts attacking. Shido asks for the spirit's name, but she doesn't have one. So Shido decides on the name Tomei and nearly gets himself killed from it. So then he changes it to Toka, and she seems to like that. Meanwhile, while Shido's trying to talk the spirit into stop attacking, he ends up getting himself killed. Because Origami shoots at Toka with a sniper rifle, and it just so happens to hit Shido. But for some reason, Toka's spirit powers are able to revive Shido. Because just before this happened, Shido basically told Toka that is told by Kotori, who is talking to him through an earpiece back at the military base, that in order to she can tell the mood level of the spirit, which Shido can't, which is why he needs Kotori to relay the information to him. Shido tells Toka that they have to kiss, and Toka doesn't know what that means, so Shido explains what it means, and she goes straight in, no hesitation at all. And that is what basically seals Toka's spirit powers away. And then Toka just goes and lives with Itsuka, the Itsuka family of Kotori and Shido, because where else is she gonna go? Quite a bit of this series is about Toka and Origami fighting over Shido. Because Date Alive is basically playing a dating simulator, but for real. Because every time Shido's in a situation where he needs to say something to get the mood of one of the girls up, back at the military base, 3 options come up as if you're playing a dating sim, and the military can cast their votes on what he should say, and whichever option wins, Kotori tells Shido that's what he has to say to the girl. It's quite a humorous way of doing, Oh, and if you haven't, if you didn't remember from what at the very start of the video, this is a harem anime. After Toka, Shido has another spirit to deal with, called Yoshino, this very small girl who has a puppet on her right hand called Yoshinon. And these two are not the same character. They don't even have the same voice, they sound slightly different. And the way Shido seals Yoshino's powers is one of those, you know, where two people in a show accidentally kiss when they weren't supposed to. Yeah, that's how Shido does it there. And it just so happens that Toka may have arrived when that moment happened. She doesn't like Shido making out with other girls that aren't her, so she gets pissed off and starts ravaging the place. Luckily, that doesn't go on for too long. And then Toka starts going to Shido's school, which is where most of her and Origami's bickering takes place. Then we're introduced to the best girl of the whole series. She's on the thumbnail, you're looking at her right now. It's Kurumi Tokisaki. That's right, the reason why people know about this series in the first place. You don't even have to have watched Data Live to know who Kurumi is, because I knew who she was way before I started watching Data Live. So Kurumi introduces herself randomly to Shido's school, and she just so happens to know who he is already, and that she's been after him all this time. And she's open to anything he says. And when I say anything, I mean anything. Now, you'd think Kurumi is the perfect girl for this. Well, yeah, she is. Apart from she's a psychopathic murderer. That's probably one thing that's a red flag in her. If you wanted to date her, you might need to take that into consideration. Because while she's walking home, she bumps into these guys near an alleyway, and she takes them into the alley and then kills them. Then a girl by the name of Mana, who reveals herself as Shido's actual sister, because Shido was actually adopted into the Itsuka family when he was very, very young. So Mana is his actual sister, and Kotori is his adopted sister. And Mana manages to kill Kurumi. Apart from that doesn't mean anything, because Kurumi will always keep coming back. You can kill her as many times as you want, she will keep coming back. Because this isn't the first time Kurumi dies in the first season. Well, no, it is the first time. It's not the only time she dies. She gets killed again, and then comes back to life again. Because Kurumi has different coloured eyes. She's one of those characters. Her right eye is red, but her left eye is yellow and also has a clock within her left eye, where she can basically turn back time. The clock in her left eye is basically her lifespan, where she can make it go. She can take some of her lifespan away, or she can increase it with her powers. Kurumi tries to kill Shido, but luckily the other girls manage to stop her. Then Kotori does something that no one was expecting. The powers of the spirits that we've been seeing throughout the series so far happen to her. She's engulfed in flames and shows that she's also a spirit. And Origami had a side plot where she was basically looking for the person that murdered her mother and father, because it shows us in a flashback that her mother and father were murdered were engulfed in flames, and it looked like a person engulfed in the flames of a spirit. So when Kotori uses her spirit powers to take on Kurumi, in the end, Kotori loses. No one really wins or loses because nobody dies. But Origami is shown by Mana, the spirit engulfed in flames, and she realizes that it's Kotori. Meaning, Origami wants to kill Kotori now. And that's what she sets out to do, as Shido basically has to do with Kotori what he did with Yoshino and Toka. He's got to date them he dated those two. He's got to date Kotori now in order to seal her spirit powers. Very sus. Yes, Shido has to date his own sister to seal her spirit powers. And something I've managed to go most of the video without mentioning yet, I can't resist. Kotori and Mana are both voiced by Ayane Taketatsu, aka Nino from the quintuplets. Had to get that in at least somewhere. So Origami swoops into the amusement park, which is where Shido and Kotori are after they went to a water park. Origami starts trying to kill Kotori, of course, so Toka and Yoshino decide to make their way to the park to stop her. Origami is filled with a bloodlust of wanting to kill Kotori, and Shido doesn't want that to happen because he's seen that Mana is so used to killing that she's numb to it now. And he doesn't want to see Origami go through the same thing. So, what he does instead, he grabs Kotori and keeps running away with her, while Toka and Yoshino try to stop Origami. And Shido asks Kotori, does she love him? I think you all know where this is going. Just like with Toka and Yoshino, Shido gives Kotori the mouth-to-mouth treatment to seal away her spirit powers. Origami goes back to the hospital to recover from the injury she sustained in this battle. Kotori returns to her military commandment post. And Shido finally has a tiny bit of normality. But there's just one little problem. Kurumi is still around. And she doesn't look like she's going anywhere, but she doesn't really do anything right in the final couple of episodes. And that concludes Date Alive Season 1. I didn't know what to expect going into the show because I didn't really know anything about it. All I knew is Kurumi is like the only thing that this show is basically known for. And it is quite an interesting dynamic. I knew it was a harem anime. Is it as good as the quintuplets? Well, no, nothing is as good as the quintuplets. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect going into this. But the fact that the show is played as if it's like Shido basically has to play a dating sim, but for real, where he's got real-time options popping up that Kotori basically tells him. I think that's actually a pretty cool idea. It's also quite unique for a harem anime. just like the quintuplets dynamic is unique for a harem anime. I'll stop mentioning the quintuplets now. But yeah, that will conclude Season 1 of Date A Live. I'm not going to be covering the OVA because, oh god, is it sus as hell. No way am I covering that. What I hopefully will be covering next is Date A Live Season 2, of course. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to cover all 4 seasons of Date A Live before the end of the year, as Season 5 got announced earlier this year, so there 100% will be a Date A Live Season 5, so that's interesting, but I've only just finished Season 1, I need to get ready to get started on Season 2. And I'm not going to bother doing a tier list of the girls in the show. Kurumi's at the top and then everyone else can be wherever they want. Simple as that. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, which will hopefully be Date A Live Season 2, catch you later.